Is it working? Okay.
Dear friends, I love you, I miss you, and I hope this finds you well. After my mom died, my depression became insufferable. Self-medicating was no longer working, and I had to make a change. I love Portland. It matches my temperament, gloomy, introverted, and kind of soggy all the time. But it's just the 9 months of darkness and rain that get to me. I know it gets to a lot of people, but I had to get away. I had to escape. Besides, there was this growing anxiety in me that one day soon the great American road trip would come to an end with self-driving vehicles. I bought a 1994 Chevy G20 conversion van named Choo Choo. The gutting and building was therapy in itself. I had a purpose and meaning in my life, and a goal: to build a mobile domicile and to get the hell out of Dodge before winter. My own private turtle shell on wheels. I closed my social media accounts, disconnected my phone, and thanks to my solar panel, I went off grid. Traveling always seems to help. Getting away from my storyline, the failed artist, the failed lover, the failed son. I headed south to the desert to be alone. When you're alone, no one can hurt you, and you can't hurt anyone.
Are you ready to die? Are you afraid you'll miss it here? Are you afraid it won't miss you?
So, okay, I'm like 4 or 5 years old, somewhere around there. I'm on the swing set in my backyard. There's no one else around. No mom, no dad, no brothers or sisters. There's just this one sound. When I first heard that sound, that's when I knew I was here. Soon after, around that same time, I developed a strong desire to explore the world beyond my family. One morning, I drew a map detailing the whereabouts of an ancient treasure buried out in the middle of the desert. After breakfast, I set out on my tricycle, spanning a golf course and busy streets. Car horns blared at me. I knew I was in trouble because adults were yelling at me. I found my way to a diner where chain-smoking adults towered above, looking down, grumbling, "Where's your folks, honey? Are you lost? My adventure was cut short the moment my mother arrived. She simultaneously spanked me and dragged me away by my tiny arm, escorting me away from my new friends in blue uniforms. Those 2 hours, though, of independence, traveling less than 2 miles away from my family, that would spark in me a lifelong love of disappearing. I've been trying to disappear from my shame and self-hatred for most of my life. A few of you know, but most of you don't, that around this same time, I was around 5 or 6, I don't really remember, I had an accident. I was over at Benjamin's house swimming. Found an opportunity to show off my bravery, to be a rebel. I got scared at the last minute. I twisted and tried to save myself, but it was too late. I was teased by kids throughout school. I think I was 10 years old when I first contemplated suicide, because the neighbor boy told me that I would never grow up to be a man because I had one testicle. By the time I was in high school, I knew I was queer. And growing up in a super Christian family, that wasn't an option. It wasn't accepted. I already had deep shame about my body, and then I'd be ashamed of what I wanted to do with my body. So I began using drugs and alcohol to escape my self-hatred.
I just want to lay in bed for the rest of my life.
The essential principle of business, of occupation in the world is this. Figure out some way in which you get paid for playing, and being very careful about what you desire, because there's a good saying, be careful of what you desire. You may get it.
I had to get to work on something, to be creative. I didn't know really what I was going to do. portrait of the artist as a middle-aged man living in a van in the middle of nowhere.
If you wanna be an artist, well that's good for you, but don't quit your day job, you'll need money for food. You can sell all your books and eat your shoes, but landlord comes a knocking, giving you blues.
As long as times are good, there'll be jobs for fellows who just barely do enough to get by. But to keep a job when the going gets rough, you need to insure your job. Make yourself so valuable your employer can't let you go.
The opportunity to develop useful skills is important, but not enough. The equally important opportunity to put skills to use is a further test on a respect scale.
Always, the art is based on saving, by reducing the family needs, as well as by spending, for she spends to save, and saves to spend.
In Walter Benjamin's 1936 essay, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction, he describes art as having lost its aura with the advent of the mechanically produced copy, especially with film and photography. What he means by aura is, quote, its unique aesthetic authority, unquote, located in time and space. But the fear of losing aura through replication hasn't stopped humans from creating original art. Irrespective of its aesthetic authority, humans are compelled to create, even if the fruits of their labors are destined for the thrift store, or worse, the landfill. If a painter produces work and no one ever sees it, is she still considered an artist? Does art necessitate a conversation? Or is it merely a monologue?
Faces. Some familiar faces, you know you've seen them before, but you can't remember how or in what context. There's always people coming and going, laughing and crying. Have you ever been to Detroit, man? Smile and look over their shoulder. I'll be right back. Someone's mad at you. Again. You'll leave the room. The door won't shut all the way. You can hear them talking about you because the door won't shut. And when you smile, they don't smile back at you. They got your number.
Oh, crap.
Listen, man, you're very close.
What do I get out of this again?
Catharsis.
My grandpa told me that if I drank beer, it'd put hair on my chest. Like this idea that alcohol would make me become a man and make me stronger.
Oh, crap. Really? You gotta be kidding me.
The future is woke.
Yeah, so it didn't work.
Great. I'll move on to plan B then.
Whatever. I'm going back to Portland.
Hey, bud. What the?
What did your face look like before your parents were born?
If robots develop consciousness, will they replace the artist? Will they become disenfranchised with their work? In an Oxford study from 2013, social scientist Freyan Osborne predicted that 47% of US jobs will be lost by the 2030s due to automation. Will robots displace massive swaths of the labor force and lead to greater and greater economic inequality? Or will they free people from having meaningless jobs, allowing them the freedom to explore their creativity? Hello?
Are you ready to stop working? Have we got a deal for you? Today only and only today do we have a special that can get you where you need to be. For only $797, you can be living your best life in just a matter of weeks, or perhaps years.
Let yourself in!
Hey, you made it.
So this is your plan B, huh?
Hey, I figured if we were both present, he'd learn to play the game better. I'm sorry I had to do this. Please, have a seat.
You always try to trick me into thinking I'm almost home. Just when I start to relax, you call me back.
Yeah, you can relax, man. Choose a card.
What's this magic or a magic trick or something?
Yeah, but it's more like gambling.
I normally only gamble when I have something worth losing.
Help me get him to make a decision. Then we'll both be free, okay?
All right. Ugh. This is cheesy, man. Straight up cheesy. There. You happy?
I guess that's what I expected.
Oh, here he comes. Let's hide.
Nice one, bro. Sweet.
Do you believe the great American road trip will come to an end with self-driving cars?
Talking like years from now when there isn't even the possibility. People will hack those. They'll make it so they can drive it. Humans are really good at hacking things.
Is it possible that we are robots already? Aliens sent us here to this planet to terraform it and get it warmer and warmer so that they can have a vacation home?
I don't believe that, though I have heard a crazy conspiracy that we're mining gold to take the gold to their civilization to spread it in their atmosphere to protect them from UV rays that they've destroyed their planet, so the gold in fact reflects UV rays, so we're here slaves mining gold.
Yeah. How old do you want to be when you die?
700 years old.
What makes you feel vulnerable?
White people.
Would you feel less vulnerable if I was naked?
Yes. Don't you feel vulnerable against white people?
Good point. I guess white people are kind of scary if you're not white people. I love America, but she has issues. I can relate to her being self-isolated from the world. We both play games where we construct artificial walls to keep people out, when in reality we couldn't exist without them. We're skeptical and nervous because we don't want to get hurt. Not again. However, this is supposed to be the land of the free, liberty and justice for all, not just for the privileged, white, heteronormative, and male.
same time, the government isn't really doing anything that they can feel tangibly. You couple all this together, it's a surprise that we haven't had protests sooner.
After the Iran deal was struck with the Obama administration, there was sort of a hope that international investors might put money into Iran. What has happened now that the Trump administration has come into office? I would imagine there is a lot of uncertainty about making that investment.
Thank you. Absolutely. So you had sort of a rush even in the first
All I'm saying is you can't change who you are fundamentally. Sure, you can kick your habits, but you'll find new ones to replace them with. Can't you see? This is one of his tricks. He's trying to convince you that you've got something to work on.
There's a better you out there waiting to be discovered. You can be happy if you want it.
See what I mean? He's a trickster and a scoundrel. What kind of life is it if you don't enjoy your time here?
Studies show that you can be happy if you want it. You can forgive them. They can forgive you.
Better trying so hard to understand why consciousness is necessary? Give up. There's nothing you need to change. Don't you miss Portland? Why are you isolating yourself out here? There are people there that care about.
It's not your karma how people treat you, but it is your karma how you react to how they treat you. You're in control of your narrative. Forgive them. They can forgive you.
New York, Washington, Chicago, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Many of our large cities have paid a terrible price. High land values and crowded buildings. Crowded streets. Traffic jams and costly delays in distributing goods. A general decline in warm neighborly relationships. Far too little chance for fresh air and sunlight. A higher cost per person for essential services. It has even become difficult for...
We have a letter here from a Danny Dene in Medford, Massachusetts. He writes,
"Will robots one day have free will?"
Well, Danny, that depends on if we have free will. Ultimately, I don't believe we do. So how could we program robots to have it? Next, we have a letter from a Tanya Garrison. She writes,
"Dear Harry, what's the best way to get rid of a depression if you don't have a van?"
I appreciate the question, Tanya. The main thing you can do is exercise. 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 That's right, folks. Wherever you are, on a plane, in a bathroom, in prison, or at work, I want you to take the next 2 minutes of your life and join me in this simple series of exercises. Let's begin. You want to warm up that body. Yeah, stretch that back, shoulders, move those wrists, move your hips. Yeah, then move those legs. Don't forget your neck. Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, you're gonna wanna find the best silverware in the house and bundle them together with rubber bands and say this: Gummo, Gummo, Gummo. Okay, let's get into this. Yeah, you got this. Sometimes it's good to take a mid-workout break and play solitaire. You gotta train the mind too, you know? Yeah, you're doing great. Well, if you don't have cards, you can always find something. The best kind of exercise is dance. And you can dance like no one's looking. I mean, absolutely no one. Don't forget to finish your exercises with stretching and a cool down period. Corpse pose.
Yeah.
Do you believe we have free will?
I think that we have the ability to make choices that have consequences, but I also believe that a lot of what we do and think is a result of factors beyond our control.
Do you believe robots will ever gain consciousness?
No, I do not.
You sounded like a robot when you said that.
That's my trick.
What do you think happens to us when we die? Hey, you know, I don't think too much about it. Where are you going?
Please help me.
What the...
Please, you there. Will you help me? I'm so lonely out here. I need you to touch me.
You want me to do what? Touch you?
Yes, hurry, lad, please.
Like that?
Yes, that's it. But could you try using your hair?
My hair? That good? Nasty.
Oh, thank you, lad. I knew an artist would come by eventually, but you don't look like an artist. You look like a heavy metal librarian.
Are you trying to make me feel bad about myself after I just helped you?
Sorry, lad. You're much too old to have any poetry left in you.
You promised if I followed my dreams, eventually my dreams would come true. Well, that hasn't happened yet, and I'm still here dreaming, lost in my dreams. You promised if I studied hard and got good grades, then I'd become a well-rounded, educated person. That if I got a degree, I'd find a career, or at least be employable. Well, I'm living out in the middle of nowhere with no real career prospects, only insurmountable student loan debt and the brooding feeling I'll never make enough money to pay it off.
You promised if I gave up drinking, did yoga, and practiced meditation every day, I'd become an enlightened individual, having access to the mysteries of this human experience. Enlightenment hasn't come, and I'm none the wiser, trapped just like you. You ever get the feeling that there's a documentary film crew capturing your every move, hoping to get a shot of you failing? As if they need you to fail? See, there's no story if your main character doesn't fail. They want to see you fail. No, shh. That's right. Just lay there and quietly fail. I just thought you'd be young and beautiful. And less hairy. My mother was accidentally dropped on her head in a nursing home. Her head expanded into a big purple balloon, and she slowly died over 9 days, not eating or drinking. I don't want to end up in a nursing home.
Hebrews chapter 6. Therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Christ, let us go on and
That you have Are you ready for your death? Put your suit on, lay in bed. Count the lights that you have left. Ask the fire to borrow breath. Kiss the spider on its head. No more water left for dead. The crystal chamber calls on you. From this height a sober view. All the parents from whom to choose. From these diamonds carbon used. Another human born with blues. Start all over, look for clues. Another cycle has begun. A brand new family, everyone gathered here to see the sun. You can run, but you can't hide. Make your peace inside your mind. Wake up now before you die.
There. That's much better.
It took me nearly 40 years, but I finally found that treasure I was looking for in the desert. Blueberry.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you breaking news from our field correspondent, Harry. He takes a closer look at violence in our culture. My guest today has been through many battles. How do you feel about violence? Is violence embarrassing?
Sorry, I don't really understand the question. Oh, you better be careful, Sean.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Oh, crap!
don't know what it is, but I've been doing pretty good, you know?
If you wanna be an artist, well, that's good for you. But don't quit your day job, you'll need money for food. You can sell all your books and eat your shoes, but landlord comes a knocking, giving you blues.
In 2018, a painting created by artificial intelligence sold at Christie's for $432,000. The art collective, known as Obvious, fed 15,000 portraits to an algorithm, and this is what it spit out. Edmond de Bellamy. I think that's how you say it. Can you tell which of these paintings were created by artificial intelligence? Or by a human? By a robot? Or by a carbon-based meat computer? Schopenhauer believed that art temporarily removes us from our subjective lives, allowing us a glimpse of the eternal, of the infinite mystery. Will robots ever be able to create art that accesses the mystery of consciousness? Will they create art for art's sake, only appreciated by other robots? Will robots one day replace the artist?
Will robots ever replace the artist?
I don't think that that's possible. I think that the programmer that's programming the robots would be the artist.
You think robots would ever be programmed to suffer?
Anything that has consciousness suffers, so once they have consciousness, they'll probably suffer some too.
While I believe society will eventually transgress capitalism and robots will help expedite that process, I don't believe they'll ever have the impulse to create metaphor like we do, unless they're programmed to suffer. Oh, what's the matter, Chew?
I'm really gonna miss you.
I'm not going anywhere. That's a silly thing to say. There. I'll talk to you later. Truth be told, I still suffer from an ocean of emotion time and again, but I have better control over the way I react. Anyway, friends, let's recap. This is what's worked for me so far. Number 1, bury the bottle. Number 2, exercise. Number 3, meditate. Number 4, make a self-help video for yourself that creates purpose and meaning in your life. If you wanna be an artist, well, that's good for you, but don't quit. Number 5, be generative and create some... Wait, what's this? What's happening to my hands? Oh, this tickles. Anyway, I don't know if you can still hear me. If you can, try to take a road trip before self-driving vehicles turn us all into robots.